Have you ever been interrupted? Maybe it was a phone call, a meeting, a text message, or someone walking into your office just as you were trying to concentrate. Listen, interruptions happen every single day. But today, I want to talk about something very different. I want to talk a little bit about disruption because I believe that there's a difference between interrupting something and disrupting something. And understanding that difference could change everything: your career, your leadership, your business, and maybe even your life. I'm Dr. Malika Turner, and welcome to another episode of Pivot with Dr. Malika, where we help women embrace change, build confidence, and leverage AI so that they can pivot forward with purpose instead of fear. So let's just dive right on in. Listen, I've been thinking about this ever since this weekend. I preached a message. And ever since then, I've been thinking we often use the words interrupt and disrupt as though they're the same, but they're not. And I believe that understanding the difference could change your career, my career, your business, your leadership, and maybe even your life. So let's dive, right? Um, have you ever been interrupted? Like, think about it, a phone call, a meeting, traffic, someone walking into your office, interruptions. They happen all the time. But disruption, now that's something different because it changes systems. Disruption changes direction. It changes outcomes. That's different. Interruptions, they're temporary. Disruptions, that's transformational. And most people spend their lives managing interruptions. Successful leaders create positive disruption. Okay, I'm going to say that again for the people in the back. Okay, successful leaders create positive disruption. Successful leaders create positive disruption. I'll say it again. So think about it. Netflix, Uber, AI, iPhone, Amazon. They didn't simply interrupt industries. They changed expectations. They changed the game. Your career wasn't interrupted. It was disrupted. And this is where when I think about my own career path, right? It was set. And 25 years in higher ed, I was there, I was set, and then all of a sudden everything changed, right? And so I don't know. I don't want to talk too much about it, but and I've shared it before, but the idea of being in student affairs for 25 years and all of a sudden out of nowhere, change happens, positions are eliminated, and we have to move forward, right? I had to pivot. Right. And it's funny because I have a podcast called Pivot with Dr. Malika, and I had small pivots, but that was a huge pivot. And so it's almost like you can't talk about something unless you live it yourself. So I could either spend my energy trying to rebuild the life I lost or create the life I never imagined. Right? Say that I just want listen to that. I could spend a lot of energy on the life I lost, or I can create the life that I never even imagined. Amen. So many women are interrupting, right? Many women are interrupting their growth instead of disrupting it. This is where, my thinking is people interrupt their lives by buying another planner, reading another book, listening to another podcast, waiting until next year, waiting until the kids graduate, waiting until retirement, waiting until they feel confident. Those are the kinds of things that I think are interruptions. But disruption, that sounds different, right? I'm starting. I'm learning AI. I'm posting on LinkedIn. I'm writing the book. I'm applying anyway, right? I'm visible. That's disruption. And AI is the greatest disruption of our generation. Okay. Um, you need to know that, right? I spent a lot of time assisting folks, teaching, doing some trainings about AI and leadership. And people ask the question, I hear this repeatedly, should I be afraid? And my answer is no. You should be prepared. You should be getting ready because AI is disrupting. It's disrupting it, but in a good way, I think, right? And that's, folks may disagree with me, but it's disrupting education, it's disrupting healthcare, marketing, leadership, small business, every industry we can think of. And so the question is, will AI disrupt you? Or will you use AI to become the disruptor? I mean, think about that. Will AI disrupt you, or will you use AI to be the disruptor? Okay. And this is one of those moments where I just want to sit and pause for like just like 3 seconds. Can I pause? I want you to think about that. Okay. All right. Did you think about that? There are so many ways that you can use AI to take you to the next level. Okay. And the change is happening. And I want to pull a story. I had someone who, and she's going to remain anonymous, but I want to just share a little bit about um, some of the things that she is doing. She's had some interruptions, but she's also taking some time to do some disrupting, right? She said, okay, let me see. Da, 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 da. I'm so excited. Well, let me go. Here we go. She said, I just had to send you a message regarding the live you did last week. And so about 2 weeks ago, we did the courage of being a beginner. And she said that was such a motivating conversation and so true on so many levels. I have adopted a completely new mindset in my life. Instead of asking why is that for someone like me, I ask now, why wouldn't that be for someone like me? I went through health challenges years ago and it completely changed my mindset. I am starting a business with my business partner, and I am going back to school for my MS degree after completing my undergrad just a few years ago. I am doing all of this in my 50s. Come on, and this is who we're talking to. My whole purpose is to assist women who are 50 plus, right? Find their voice, their visibility, and use AI to do so, right? So she said, I'm doing all of this in my 50s and can't wait to see where all of these new beginnings are taking me through God's grace. Thank you again for the reminder. And I am taking my motorcycle, quote unquote, which you'll have to go back and watch the pivot room, and riding it wherever God takes me on this beautiful, scary, amazing, new, and worthwhile journey. So, we have some folks out here who are watching and who are taking the opportunity to not only, I mean, they're experiencing some interruptions, but they themselves are disrupting, right? And that disruptor mindset says, I'm starting. I am going to use AI to become a disruptor, to change the game, if you will. I'm not going to be afraid of this thing, but I am going to go for it. And if that means at 50 plus, I'm going back to school. If that means 50 plus, I'm going to um, start a business, um, then that's what I'm going to do, right? But I'm going to change the game. And that's what disruptors do. They change systems, they change mindsets, they change. And we hope that that's what the pivot room will do. We hope that the pivot room will be geared towards helping women 50 plus change the game. There isn't much out there for women 50 plus. And so I'm excited that this room every week will be a disruptor, right? To plant seeds, to help to water some things that folks are already thinking about, right? And to provide some ideas and some strategies so that women 50 plus know, hey, honey, there's a community out here, and I'm 50 plus, and I had to pivot, and I know what it's like to learn something new. I am not a tech person, but I know what it's like to learn AI at 50 with a 50-year-old brain. But to say, you know what, I'm going to do it. So, this is why visibility matters. This is why courage matters. This is why showing up matters. Um, this is so important because when you show up for yourself, when you take a look out there in this big world that we live in, and you see the kinds of change that is taking place before your very eyes, and you say, I will not be left behind. Folks like this, right? I'm not she's anonymous, who are stepping out, who are connecting with business partners and starting businesses, who is saying, you know what, I need to finish what I've started. Um, I'm going to complete some things. I'm going to make life better for myself. But not only that, I'm going to pour into others. And that's where life just, I mean, that's where the fulfillment is. Yes, it's great to be able to do well and you succeed. But when you can also pour back into others and help others' lives change because of the work that you're doing, because of the disruption that you are creating, that's what we're talking about. So sometimes it's just, listen, it's just one decision, it's one post, it's one conversation, it's one disruption that can change everything. So, the question I would ask is, what needs disrupting, right? What do you need to disrupt? What habits need disrupting? Right? What fear needs to be what are you afraid of to move forward and to do some of the things that you desire to do? As a woman over 50, is it that you're not seeing that many women out there your age who are disrupting? Um, do you feel like you don't have much to give? Because remember, we've talked about the value in women over 50, especially women over 50 who have been in their careers and who are established, who have skills and abilities and knowledge that others don't. So you're starting forward, right? You're pivoting forward. Okay, you're coming to a new career with 25 years, 30 years of information. You know how to be resilient. You know how to fall and get back up, right? Because you know you got to pay bills. Right? You've helped children and grandchildren. I'm not at the grandchildren stage yet, but you've helped children. You've planted seeds in others around you and you've seen them succeed. So you know what it's like to come back into the workforce and do something. The only thing that the challenge is learning something new. And that is going to be easy for you because you know what it's like to be to be resilient. So what fear, what excuses, what routines need to be disrupted? What are some things that you need to disrupt in your life that are keeping you from really moving forward and really being this successful woman entrepreneur, leader, CEO, author, um, nonprofit? What are the things that you need to disrupt in your own life? I was thinking of in myself, what are some things that I need to disrupt so that I can move forward and go to the next, quote unquote? So what limiting belief do you have? What comfort zone do you need to disrupt? What relationship? And remember, we don't want to interrupt this behavior. We want to disrupt this behavior. And interruption is just a pause, right? It's just, excuse me, two people are standing there talking and you say, excuse me, I don't mean to interrupt you. And you say something and then you move on and their conversation continues. You want to disrupt. And so, what are the things that you've got to disrupt in your life so that you can Take the leap that you need to take. So what relationship, what identity do you need to disrupt, right? The greatest disruption that you may ever create is becoming the person you've been afraid to become. Woo! Wow. Wow. Think about that. The greatest disruption you may ever create is becoming the person you've been afraid to become. Who are you afraid to become that you are being called to become? Come on, think about this, ladies. Think about that. So, this is where, maybe you're waiting for your life to stop interrupting you. And sometimes we need to just stop allowing interruptions to take place. I don't know, but maybe the prayer should be, help me, Lord, to become the disruptor. And help me to put a stop to a lot of these interruptions, right? Um, Help me not to be someone who creates chaos, even in my own life, but someone who disrupts fear, disrupts mediocrity. Maybe I need to disrupt complacency. Maybe I need to disrupt excuses and self-doubt. Because every meaningful breakthrough begins with someone willing to disrupt what everyone else has accepted, right? Think about your successful people out there. They're successful because they stepped away from the norm, they stepped away from the crowd, they stepped away from what everyone else is doing and stood out, took risks, stepped out on faith, and they did something that disrupted, but it caused them to succeed. So listen, it's time for us to disrupt. Whatever it is in your life you need to disrupt. We don't want to just interrupt behaviors. We want to disrupt behaviors that are keeping us from moving forward and doing a pivot that's going to change our lives. Listen, go be great. I want you to go be great. And I want you to be nothing less than that.